Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to dive into an example from the short similar triangle thing. Yes, that's really the name of it. Um, the reason for this is because in years past, and usually when you spend just one day on similar triangles, people forget a lot of it or kind of get confused. And so the point of this is to clear up some confusion and kind of give you a little bit of extra practice with similar triangles as we do another thing today as part of your lesson. So the example I'm going to go over is 5. Because there's not really an example like this in the notes, so I figured I'd do one from your assignment that looks like this. These ones where it's kind of got like two triangles connected at a point can be a little bit tricky in setting up your equation, but it's important to know what parts correspond to each other. And so if you look at the letter order of what's in our similarity statement up here, see FG is similar to FD. So FG is similar to FD. That means that whatever you times, you can times 98 by something to get 70. So these two parts match up, right? They're scale factors of each other. And then we got our next pair, GH, DE, which GH and DE are not really shared. We don't have information about them, so we're not going to use that. But we can use that H then goes to F and E goes to F as well. So HF and EF correspond to each other. And so since these correspond, this pair corresponds, and this pair corresponds, you can find out your scale factor and then use that to set up the equation for that other part. So a lot of lines kind of drawing parts that match up. But it's important to know what parts do correspond. Actually, I should just use a highlighter. Those correspond in a different color, like orange. These correspond, okay? So now we have that. We can actually set up you can set up an equation and solve it. You can use scale factor. If you're using scale factor, I like to use, what's the scale factor from the small to the big? So 70 times something is 98. And you can just divide by 70 to figure out what that scale factor is. Let me grab a calculator and figure out. Let's see, 98 divided by 70 is 1.4, which is 7/5. So our scale factor is 7/5. That's a weird looking 7. And so we can then use this other pair. If I went small to big with my scale factor, I need to do small to big there. So if I do 7x plus 3, and I times that by 7/5, you'll get 63. So that's one equation you can set up and then solve. I do want to show you a different setup, so I'm going to switch colors here. Let's do purple. Once again, we have these corresponding. And so you could just set up this big over small and then big over small. You got set up looking like that. Use a ratio of sides is congruent. But you can also do these matching up here. Okay. And so if we do this over 70, you'll get 63 over 98, and you can set up that equation. So I'm going to write that one out. And I try to be careful here. If you see, if I'm putting this on top, the orange on top, then when I get to my other one, I'm also going to put orange on top my other equation there. So I'm going to write out that one as another example. So we got 7x plus 3 over 70 equals 63 over 98. And so you have two different equations you can try solving. And really, if you were to times by this over here, this would actually give you the same fraction as 7/5. But anyway, that requires, knowing some cool math thingies, which you might already know or might have noticed. But yeah, so you can set up your equation and solve either of them. I find that this one looks a bit more complicated, though you could just times by 70 and get that out of the bottom. So actually, let's just go through the process of solving that. Let's just times by 70 over here, times by 70. Those cancel out. Now we got 7x plus 3. And the right side, you just do 63 times 70 and divide by 98, and you get 45. And you minus some 3. we got 7x is 42, and divide by 7, and you get that x is 6. So there's one way of solving it. We do have this other equation over here, which we figured out our scale factor, times by the smaller triangle to get the bigger one. And you can just go through and solve this. I'm actually just going to divide by 7/5, which is times it by 5/7. I'm going to do that on both sides. Times by 5/7. Now we got 7x plus 3 equal 63 times 5/7 is 45. Where have we seen that before? Yeah, you need to subtract 3 and finish solving. 7x is 42 and divide by 7, and we got x is 6. So yeah, 2 different routes to get to the same answer. I wanted to show you both. Maybe you like this method, maybe that makes sense to you, figuring out the scale factor, and maybe setting up equivalent ratios makes sense to you, or you like that, it kind of looks a little bit shorter for you, then you can go with that. But yeah, go ahead and solve the rest of these similar triangle problems, trying to solve for x, and you can use either method. Good luck.